One of the country's foremost experts on the Communist Chinese Party, author of Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America, CPAC board member Gordon Chang. Good morning, Gordon. I mean, when you look at the sudden removal of these top military leaders, what does it tell you about what may be happening behind the scenes inside the Chinese Communist Party?
Yeah, we don't know exactly what's going on, but we do know that there is disarray. And right now, the Central Military Commission of the Communist Party, which controls the military, has been decimated. There are now only two people on it, Xi Jinping himself and the political commissar of the army. And that means that the operational people are not there. And also the people who were removed, especially General Zhang Yaoshao, were putting brakes on Xi Jinping's plans to invade Taiwan. So there's a lot up in the air right now, and this is a very concerning situation for everybody.
So yeah, you just brought up Taiwan. If China's leadership is focused on damage control at home essentially right now, how does that affect the way Beijing handles Taiwan?
In the short term, I think that it means that China is not going to launch a combined air-land-sea operation to take the main island of Taiwan. But with the removal of those officers who've had combat experience, and General Zhang is about the only one who has, that means Xi Jinping, there are no political brakes on him right now. And that means that he could go out and get a compliant general or admiral to launch an ill-advised strike on another country. And that's why we have to be extremely concerned about what's going on right now. There is complete chaos, I think, right now at the top of the Chinese military, and that'll take some time to be resolved. But when it's resolved, China could be even more dangerous than it is now.
Yeah, Gordon, when you talk about these generals being removed, I mean, is this a chance of like they were fired, or are they fired and now suddenly find themselves under investigation or in Chinese prisons or about to be executed by the Chinese?
Yeah. On Saturday, the Ministry of National Defense said that the two generals were actually put under investigation. They're almost certainly detained. Now, there are rumors that General Zhang Yaoshao, the #1 guy, is now not in custody, but I don't believe that. But there are rumors that are flying fast and furious around Beijing right now.
I also want to get your thoughts on British Prime Minister Keir Starmer arriving in Beijing Wednesday. China and the UK now looking to reset their relationship. And we know Starmer says he's seeking a more sophisticated relationship with China. We saw the same with Canada last week. Should we see this as a positive step toward cooperation, or are there a lot of risks that we should be watching for here?
Yeah, this is not a good development, either with Starmer or Emmanuel Macron, the French president who was there in December, or Carney, who was there 2 weeks ago, or Frederick Merz, who will be there in February. What we have are Western leaders trying to make separate deals with the Chinese. And the Chinese right now are in no mood to end up in constructive discussions with Starmer or anybody else. The one thing that I don't worry too much about is that the Chinese economy is stumbling very badly. China is not having fair trade relations with any other country. And the U.S. economy, thanks to President Trump, is booming, which means that countries are going to need the U.S. and they're not going to be needing China because they will not be able to sell in substantial quantities to the Chinese, as we saw from the 2025 import numbers, which were flat, an indication that China is keeping out products of other countries.
Hey, before we go real quick, Gordon, I want to bring up the idea of Greenland. I know the president says that China and Russia both have increased interest in the Arctic. What do you think is strategically at stake here as the U.S. looks to acquire more control over Greenland?
Well, right now we see the Chinese and Russian militaries practicing jointly. They are increasing their activities there. A Chinese submarine went under the Arctic ice cap for the first time last year. There may have been more than one of them. It was supposedly a research submarine, Mark, but clearly this was preparation for Chinese ballistic missile submarines to patrol the Arctic, which means they'd be much closer to Canada and the United States. So President Trump is right. We need far more defenses in Greenland and in the Arctic, both in Alaska and in Canada's Arctic.
All right, Gordon Chang, always great to chat with you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks, guys.
Information. Truth. is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.